I want to stop using food as an introduction topic.
Really? Why?
I don't know. It feels like that's always the go-to,
It's so good
and
though.
it's always from me. It's always from me too, though. Hey Tim, how do you feel about hot dogs? Mac and cheese. Have you heard of it?
Okay, so this is hard to say. This comes with a lot of shame, all right? Just buckle up. It's like 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, I was having a very bad day. I don't remember why. I don't remember if it was the weather or I'd hurt my hand or something. There's a lot of things that have happened in the past couple of weeks, but it was a very bad day. And
Okay.
I downloaded a mobile game and I spent over $20 on microtransactions. And
This is why we can't have nice things.
it feels really dirty. It was terrible.
So what game was this?
It was, what's it called? I think it's called
Was it
Clear
Raid
Vision.
Shadow Legends?
No, it's not Raid Shadow Legends. It's not much better though. That's the real issue.
Oh, that's the worst part.
Okay, so it's a game on the App Store. It's essentially a sniper game, but with stick people. Which again, I don't even know how they were able to get money out of me, but I just felt so. I was having a terrible day, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna play this damn mobile game until I start feeling better. And so I'm just sniping people in it and sniping people, and then I realize I can't make this one shot because the velocity of my bullets isn't going far enough. So I'm like, well, I need to save up for the next rifle, and then the points for it were like way too much. I'm like, well, I'm not spending 8 hours on this game to try to get it. I'm just gonna go ahead and buy the rifle, and that's when it started. And then I bought a second rifle, and then I bought a third rifle, and then I felt gross.
See,
And man,
the fact that you were playing it on a bad day is how they got you.
yeah, I definitely wouldn't have done this on a good day. Like everything about this was like a red flag. It was terrible. I had to confess that to you to try to, keep myself on the straight and narrow path from now on.
I don't
It
know,
was
man.
bad.
I think I'm gonna have to keep a close eye on you
It
now.
was such a terrible game too. Like there was nothing justifiable about these purchases. It was one of the worst mobile games I've ever played. I don't know how this happened. This is like it felt like buying stuff on Candy Crush. Like it just oh man.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know how this happened. So anyways, I'm sorry and I hope it never happens
I
again.
expect your resignation by the end of the week.
Yeah, all right. Okay, all right. So tortillas.
Yes,
All right.
much more important topic.
Yes. Are whole wheat tortillas ever justifiable? You kind of want a yes or no answer, right? That's kind of what you're looking for.
Not even necessarily yes or no, because after giving it some thought, I decided that there are some cases where they are okay,
Okay.
but in general, I would say no, don't do whole wheat tortillas.
I think you're absolutely right. I think there's like I don't know. I know sometimes I eat buffalo chicken wraps that will have whole wheat tortillas, and that's not even like if it's Mexican food, I don't think it's ever justifiable. But
Yeah,
if you move a little bit away from that, then we can talk.
yeah. So this came up because I had got these frozen burritos as I like to eat,
Okay.
and but they weren't like the typical bean and beef or rice and beans or what have you. They were cilantro. No, not cilantro. It was chicken and something else, like
Was
some
this
sort
a
of like cool herb or whatever. Not
was this a
cilantro, but
frozen
some
burrito? What was this?
yeah, frozen.
Okay. Got it.
I can't remember the type of herb that was used, but what surprised me is the fact that it used a whole wheat tortilla. So I don't know.
Tastes weird, right?
Yeah, I don't think it was quite right. I don't think you should have whole wheat tortilla with hot food, which you have to have with a frozen
Yeah.
tortilla. And then also, I mean, I think chicken is more acceptable than if you had like beef or beans and rice or something. But I don't know. It just still didn't sit right with me.
I'm not sure whole wheat tortillas are ever justifiable in the framework of frozen burritos.
Yeah, and the problem is that they were
Ugh.
much more like stiff,
What brand was
and
this?
I don't know. It was some sort of Kirkland signature brand. They
Ugh,
weren't that bad, but if
Kirkland.
the tortillas were kind of lackluster, they were
Well,
too
yeah.
prominent.
Oh yeah,
The
whole
whole
wheat tortillas are always like that.
Yeah, and that's the problem with frozen burritos is that the tortilla is oftentimes the worst part if you're microwaving it because
Mm-hmm.
the tortilla gets hard or stiff or dried out or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you have a whole wheat tortilla, then it's amplified and it's even worse.
Ugh, that's no good.
So,
Hey,
yeah, I'm
whatever happened to that?
terrible.
Whatever happens to that idea of starting up a YouTube channel to review frozen burritos? That sounds great. I'd watch every episode.
The problem is that I'm very flip floppy about my burrito consumption.
Hmm.
Um, Oftentimes I'll go and I'll eat a bunch. It'll be like my go-to lunch for a couple weeks, like maybe a month or two, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'll just stop eating them for a month or two because
Mm.
I get a little tired of them. And then I'll be like, hey, maybe I should have a frozen burrito, and then the cycle starts all over again.
Hmm. I wonder if we could do a. I don't know. I wonder if we could set up your life in a way where you could easily record them. Like for instance, if you were to come over like once a week, which you usually do, that's usually what you're doing. If you came over once a week and I was just to put a frozen burrito in front of you and start rolling the camera, and just be like, "All right, Jacob, eat this and tell me what you're thinking about
No,
it the
no,
whole
that's
time."
that's not
Why
how it
not?
works,
No,
though.
that'd be
That's not how
great.
it works. No, no, that's unacceptable.
Why
Because
is
it's
that
not about your
unacceptable?
first impressions. Anyone can give you a first impressions. It's about the detailed analysis of how it functions as a food source. How is the packaging? How how well does it heat up?
Yeah, it's
Because
first
like one of the
reactions to
things I found
everything.
about that new brand of burrito from Costco
Yeah.
is that they're much thicker. So not only do you need to microwave them for longer, that means more likely for frozen stuff on the inside if you don't heat it long enough, but that
Hmm.
also affects the tortilla on the outside because it's easier to get that dry and hard. So there's a lot of factors that go into it.
I love how much you thought about this. Tell me,
So
what's like the main quality you're looking for in a frozen burrito? What makes or breaks a good frozen burrito? Like amount of cheese or rice or meat or something, or is
I
it
mean,
like the consistency?
taste is isn't priority. Taste is important, but
Okay.
I'm also looking for convenience and structure. How
Hmm.
well does it microwave? Does it just become hard as a rock if you microwave it for anything but the exact right time? Do you
Hmm.
have some leeway? How easy is a package to open? Because I've had some really annoying packages that just are impossible to get out unless you like take scissors to the whole thing. I don't like to I like to not have to use scissors. So that's another thing you have to take into consideration. This is all isn't stuff you can just plop down a camera in front of me and say, "Hey, what's this burrito like?" No, anyone can tell you how a burrito tastes to them, but it's the minute details that are important.
This is why you do such a good job with that YouTube channel. You
I
understand
was
the audience,
it's funny because I was actually just thinking about that because that's what I had for lunch today is I had
right?
frozen burritos again and I was thinking, man, if I was to take time to like film B-roll of me like putting a burrito in a microwave and taking it out, how would I compose those shots?
Hmm.
And I was thinking I like the wide angle look, but I don't think that's quite right because this isn't a broad channel. This is a focused channel. You'd actually need like tight angles and shots
Can we do
because
close-up
we're
shots of your
bit.
mouth?
No, that's disgusting, and
Oh,
you can just not do that ever.
what?
That's
Okay.
actually disgusting. That gives me the irks.
Would you? Well, I have a question. Would you be open to doing a variety of frozen foods along with the main one being burritos?
If Well, I don't eat other frozen foods usually. I don't
Hmm.
even know if I've ever had a hot pocket in my life.
What?
To put it into context, because my
What?
mom never bought them for us growing up.
They're amazing. You've never had a hot pocket?
I've probably had a hot pocket or two before.
Okay, we're gonna do a hot pocket night later. I'm gonna get a
Oh no,
whole no, because
gourmet hot pockets.
there's yeah, we could. There's like a huge variety of hot pockets. Like within the hot pocket realm, they make a bunch of different flavors of hot pocket. They do breakfast hot pockets. They do normal hot pockets.
Yeah.
I think there's some other like weird ones. They might get into like Asian food. I'd never touch those. That sounds terrible. But I don't know.
Well, I usually just stick to frozen burritos. So,
Do you have a
although
sombrero you could wear to do the videos?
no, that's ridiculous.
Ah, man, it'd be so good. You could be the sombrero guy.
Some prayer guy. That's not the nickname I'm looking for.
What about a big fake like Mexican mustache?
Well, why do I need to go over the top for it? No. This is a practical and grounded YouTube channel.
I love it. Oh man.
I think you and I have two very different ideals about
I
what
think
direction it
well,
should go in.
I mostly said it because I wanted to hear you talk about it as a practical and grounded YouTube channel. I wanted to cement that in your mind. This is serious. This is serious business, these frozen
Yeah,
burritos.
no, there's no humor here.
Yeah, this is life or death information.
Let me give you the spec sheet on this burrito.
Oh my god.
Oh, now I actually want to do it.
Right? Yeah.
The problem though is I would not feel comfortable doing that around my parents. Ask me
For,
why I'm filming a burrito. And I'm not home alone very often, so I don't
I think
know.
I would love for like once every couple episodes, if your mom walks into the room, just to dart the camera at her, just to see her like disgusted face really quick. Like it was just like, what on earth are you doing? And then we just go back to the normal video.
Yeah,
That'd be amazing.
just like sheet over the burrito. No, it's not what you think it is.
So this is a question I never asked myself, but obviously someone did ask themselves this at some point. We kind of went as a society from like long-term media, not long-term, what's the word I'm looking for? Like I don't know, longer form media. So like it went from like operas and plays to movies, and that's all around like the 2 hour mark. That's roughly, how long those things last. And then
Yeah.
we had TV shows, which was a half hour, which were broken up by commercials. And now we have YouTube, which is like, I mean, it's kind of hard to judge like the average length of a YouTube video. That doesn't really work, but you kind of know what I mean. Like it kind of goes all over the place, but anywhere from 10 seconds to like 20 minutes, and then it can be longer obviously, but that I think that's the sweet spot between like 10 to 15 seconds and then 20 minutes. So there was a new service that just launched a little while ago, which is supposed to act like its own Netflix, but it's only for shows that last about 7 minutes per episode. Isn't that interesting?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. So it's called Quibi. So it just launched. It's only for phones. So you're only really able to watch it. I mean, you could probably find a workaround, but you're really only supposed to watch it on your mobile device. And it's actually meant to be watched both in portrait mode and in wide shot mode. It's the most interesting thing. It's just weird.
Yeah, I can already tell you I don't like it.
So yeah, it's interesting. It's not terrible. It's okay. So it comes with some severe limitations. So it actually looks really good in both widescreen and in portrait mode on your phone. The downside is that because it has to be able to be used in both ways very easily, the only important information in every single shot can only be the very center frame, because that's all you can really show in portrait mode. Like you can't have anything in the top and bottom because that'll be cut off if you go to widescreen, and you can't have anything on the sides because that'll be cut off when you go to portrait mode. So it's weird because every single shot seems to be like there's a person in the middle that's talking, and the rest of the shot is always boring. Like there's nothing
Yeah,
they're
that
able.
sounds about right.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It makes sense as to why they would try something like this, but I don't know about the long-term goals of it.
I mean, it's that kind of thing that just sounds like whoever's idea it was, they just used it as a way to sell the product to investors and be like, hey, check out how hip we are. I want to make money, even though I know this product probably isn't going to work long term.
Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. So they've signed on a few YouTubers. I forgot who it was. I want to say it was like Liza Koshy, I think has a show on there. I think it's Liza Koshy.
Yeah,
Maybe someone else.
Any service that's gonna that's main selling point is gonna be like
hip users,
content creator
Uh-huh.
on because I've seen videos on there's a couple websites that have done like little kids but like teenagers and stuff from TikTok and giving them their own TV. TV shows with massive quotes, but it's like, yeah, no, that's not. Ugh, please don't.
You know what's interesting? I didn't realize what was going on with Vine behind the scenes, but I kind of understand its death a little bit more. Apparently, what was happening with Vine is that a lot of these big creators on Vine only used Vine as a jumping off point and basically instantly stopped using Vine once they had any kind of following whatsoever. So I'm curious about TikTok's revenue stream because that's a really interesting thing that if the media form is that short and you can't really build much of a reputation, you can really only get your name out with a service like that. I wonder how long the legs of something like that is. So anyways, I started watching some stuff on Quibi. They had like a 10-day free trial, and I showed Emily and I was like, "Hey, this is kind of interesting. We should check this thing out." And there was two shows that caught my attention. The first one was kind of cool. It's a house flipping show, but it's specifically house flipping for places where gruesome murders have occurred, which is really fascinating. It was
Oh,
actually
okay.
Yeah, no, it was really cool. So it wasn't like murders that happened last week. It's like ones that have happened in the past.
So
So
so they're not the ones like cleaning up the blood off the walls. Because that
no,
would be a show I would watch.
it's honestly the first couple episodes, and again, each episode is only like 7 minutes long. But God, viscera cleanup detail of the show. No, no, what they're doing is they're going in. The first couple episodes are really cheesy because what they're doing is they go into the house and the people who live there are showing them like, this room is where the bodies were and this is where they buried them and then in this room was where they found the tongues or something. And they're going through these details and they're doing that thing that like I don't like weird, stupid, spooky shows would do where they like play the scary music as these people are walking through literally just like a
In a
well-lit room.
hallway.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
Wi-Fi and, and talking
and
about it.
4G signal and
Yeah, and they have these horrified faces. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it's like you're clearly making this up. This is ridiculous. These murders happened like 20 or 30 years ago. It doesn't make
yeah.
any sense. The first one was interesting though. So the first like 4 or 5 episodes were dedicated to I want to say they were called the San Francisco Killer or something. It, this is the most adorable serial killer I've ever heard of though. So the serial killer was a 70-year-old grandma who lived in this house in San Francisco, who would feed people poisoned milk, and then they would just like basically fall asleep, and then she'd just dig a hole in the backyard and just bury the bodies, and then invite someone else in for milk and cookies.
Oh, that's so sweet of her.
Right? It's the most adorable serial killer I've ever heard of. Let me get the name right, because I'm sure anyone listening to this is gonna want to Google this. Let me see the name. Grandma killer. I don't know how to find this thing.
Yeah, just San Francisco milk killer.
I want to say it was San Francisco. It's somewhere on the West Coast. Man, Charmed, Bizarre. No, no. Here she is.
Latasha Harlins?
No, Dorothea Helen Puente, an American convicted serial killer in the 80s. Puente ran a boarding house in Sacramento. Okay, Sacramento is where it was. And murdered various elderly and mentally disabled boarders before her cat. No, I don't think this is it. Oh, maybe it is, because she was cashing in the Social Security checks. Her total count reached 9 murders, 6 unconfirmed. The Death House landlady. I love that name. Okay, it might have been Dorothea Helen Gray. 7 most notorious killers in San Francisco. Zodiac killer. Wow, San Francisco had a serial killer called the Doodler.
This doodler?
The Doodler. Yeah. Unabomber, Zebra Killers, Richmond. I don't know. Okay, whatever. I'm pretty sure it's that girl, Dorothea Puente. Anyways, so that was fine. The second show was weird, and this is the one that instantly caught my attention, and it was the reason I signed up for the service. And they've been trying to advertise this show as much as possible. Okay, this is the weirdest. I don't know how this show came about. Like, I don't understand who would sign off on this, and who would even write this thing. So, the show is written by... Okay, so the creator of
Wait.
What?
I don't like how you laugh before you start to say the name of the person who wrote it.
Oh, God. Okay, so Rick and Morty was made by a guy named Dan Harmon.
Yes.
This is a show. It's a fictional show. But okay, it's half fiction, half reality. But it's based on it was written by Dan Harmon's ex-girlfriend talking about the weird sex stuff that Dan Harmon did when they were in a relationship.
That's it?
So the show is about a sex doll, and the girlfriend in the show starts up a relationship with this sex doll, and it like gets anthropomorphized, and so you're watching her go around with her best friend's sex doll, who is also Dan Harmon's sex doll in real life, and it was just
So wait,
weird.
wait. It's polygamy, but with a sex doll.
No, no, they never did anything together. Both individuals slept with her separately.
Well, yeah, but it's
It, I, it's really weird, man. It was just the strangest thing. I'm like, what on earth? I can't imagine being in a relationship with someone who would do that. Like, it's the weirdest thing. I don't know. I had to mention
yeah.
it
No,
because
you really haven't sold me on this service yet.
no, I don't think I've sold myself on the service either. I definitely didn't finish my 10-day free trial or whatever it was. It was just the weirdest thing. I had to see what this was about. I'm like, how on earth? Like, okay, it's an original idea. Like, I've never heard of that before. But man, I don't even know. I really want to know what Dan Harmon thinks about it. I don't know if he's ever made a statement on it. I gotta find that later. But ugh, it's strange. Okay, I gotta wipe this from my mind. What are we talking about next?
Yeah, let's talk about something better than that.
If we're gonna talk about something better, then we're skipping Last of Us Part 2 for now.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that game was
From
heavy.
what I've heard, it's yeah.
What have you heard about it? You know what? Why not? Let's go into it. What have you heard about it? I'm very curious.
Story's not that good. Story's actually the writing's actually pretty bad in it, is what I've
Wow.
heard.
So, okay, this has been a very big it's been really divisive in the community. It's been kind of funny to see this. So, it seems like half of the community loved the story. The other half of the community hated the story. And the half of the community that loves the story truly believes that the only reason the half of the community that hated the story is because they're used to being spoon-fed happy endings, and they don't like that this was a happy ending. It's a
Well, from what I heard from the half that doesn't like the story, is the characters are kind of like all over the place, and I think it's something like a revenge story, right?
Oh yeah, very much.
So
Eye for an eye
she
makes the whole
has
world
like
blind.
you can't sympathize with her motives for revenge because she's just being actually kind of stupid about the whole thing. Um, is my basic understanding of it, and I haven't like really read much on the topic
Hmm.
in a while. So
It's I don't know if it's unsympathetic. I mean, so I'm definitely part of the half that really enjoyed the story. They make her a very unsympathetic character, and I believe part of the reason people didn't like it is because in the first game, Ellie, the main protagonist girl, she's like 10 years old or 11 years old or so. No, maybe she's like 13 or 14. She's a young girl in the first game. And so everything she's doing, you have a huge sympathy for, and you're on her side. Like, you want her to win, you want her to, like, go on and everything. This game is much more of her coming into her own as an adult and kind of struggling with a lot more serious topics, but she handles them in the worst way possible and just kind of gets consumed with anger. So I don't know. I really don't like the idea of her not being a she is unsympathetic in what she's doing. Like, she's choosing all the wrong actions. And it's funny because this is the first game I played where I was performing actions and I actively did not want to do any of the actions. There's a specific scene in there, and without giving anything away, you have to harm somebody in a really brutal way, and you have to physically do it. You've got to hit the button to hit them every single time, but you know both of the characters and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't do this." So I put my controller down hoping that, like, the cutscene would just end, and they programmed it to where her facial animations just get, like, slowly more and more sour, and the music starts tensing up more and more, and the screen turns more red as you can just, like, feel the anger pulsing through her. And you can't I don't it's just weird, man. I don't know, they did a really good job with it. But I don't know. It was heavy. The game was really, really heavy. I did wanted to mention it to you because there is something in the game that I'm very curious about your opinion of. I
okay.
think you'll like it a lot. Okay. So for the difficulty, they have the most interesting difficulty setting that I've ever seen. Their difficulty setting is cut up into like 6 parts. So you can actually toggle up and down the difficulty of the encounters, like, how much health the enemies have. You can
Mm-hmm.
also tune up and down how much of how many items are around the worlds, and how much each of the characters sees you, like their perception of like, you're hiding over here and how much they actually see you. There's just all of these little things to tweak. I've never really seen that in a game before, like having that much control over the difficulty.
I'm a fan of that because
Yeah.
one of the things I don't really like. Well, so that could make it kind of difficult for achievements.
Hmm.
Well, probably not. But one of the things I've always disliked is that sometimes in games you'll be like, oh yeah, I want like more of a challenge. Oh wait, now I just die in like 2 shots instead of like 5 shots. And there's like enemies have more health and there's less ammo and all these different things. It's like no, maybe sometimes I just want like the enemies to have more health, but I don't want anything else about the game to change. So
Hmm.
I'm actually a big fan of having such a dynamic or diverse way of changing the difficulty. So
Hmm.
that's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, they did a really good job with it. It was very surprising to go into the menu and be like, "Oh my goodness, I can tweak everything about this game. Like I can, if I want this a little bit more, if I want this a little bit less." And
Yeah.
yeah, it was amazing. I really appreciated that about it. But yeah, besides that, that game was hard to get through. That was, oh man, that was heavy. It's I don't think I've ever played a game that heavy before. Emily and I, because she was obsessed with this thing, she wanted me to play every second of it. But after we finished it, we both looked like we'd just been punched in the gut, and we're like, okay, we need to watch comedy for like 2 days straight. Like we can't do anything else. We can't take any more trauma in our life. It was heavy, man. It was really good. The whole story revolves around the protagonist and the antagonist. And one of the big reasons people didn't like it is because it spends just as much time with either character. And you get to know them both and fall in love with them just as much. And you're like, man, you're both terrible people. And you kind of, it forces you not to be able to pick a side in the situation, which is, I think, really what people hate about it. But, anyways, it was really good. I wish I had more to say on it, but honestly, it's been so long since I played it now. It's hard to remember too many like huge details from the game except for the overall like ending of the plot.
Yeah. And having never even seen the end of the first game and never played the second one, I can't really say much on it. So,
Oh yeah, well I mean, yeah, I won't get into any spoilers, but it really was like it was a revenge story. They're really clear about that. There's honestly not much more to it. And I kind of I respect the simplicity of the story. Like it wasn't like, oh my goodness, like, she's pregnant over here and this person's doing this. It's like, no, no, no. This is just a revenge story. That's all we're doing in this game. It was kind of nice. Um, oh man, okay.
all right. I want to talk about the Steam Virtual Indie E3
Yeah.
that happened because I really,
Woohoo!
really like that.
So,
Um,
oh yeah, go for it.
well, I know you didn't even know it was happening until I mentioned it to you,
Did
but
you know it
I
was happening?
found, well, yeah, I saw it was happening, and then I mentioned it to you, and you're like, oh, what? What? I didn't
Yeah.
know that was happening. But no, there was some like, I I don't care about E3 anymore. I just want that again and again because I found several different games that I actually want to play and will buy when they come out. And the best part is they're going to be like what, 10, 20, maybe $30 one of them or two of them. So
Not
I'm
$70 like the new Xbox games.
yeah, and the cool thing is they're I got to play demos of them before they're even released. Like that's awesome. And it's not like, "Oh, help us test the game by being a beta or something."
Yeah.
With some exclusive like, "Oh yeah, watch this stream to get into the beta."
Hmm.
Huh, you know, don't know of any games that have ever done that, but
Why don't you like that? That always bugs me. Like, what is it about the whole like watch a little bit of this game to get into the beta that you don't like?
cuz they're like forcing me to be marketed to just to try out their game. I'm like, no, I just let me play your game and form my own opinions about it. Don't make me watch some streamer who's probably like trying to hype up the game or something. Like just
See that?
let me give you my email address and
See, I
then
I think
just
there's
tell me
another
yes or no.
I think there's another reason for it. I'm thinking maybe what's going on is okay. So if I own a big company, if I own what Activision, I'm making a Call of Duty game. If I'm doing an open beta, then I'm probably a little bothered because aside from stress testing the servers, which is important, you're also looking for any kind of bugs and you're hoping people will message you like, hey, listen, this has happened every single time I've spawned in this location and I look at this, can on the ground. And I want data like that. So it's interesting because I do think what the Twitch key giveaways or whatever, what they do is they make sure that anyone playing your game has at least a marginal interest in the game itself and not just like, oh, this is this new thing I'll just immediately download and forget about. So I don't know. I give them a little bit of credit on it because I'm like, okay, this actually does make sense for like if you just need people to be in order to take a marginal interest in this game, other than just like, oh, it's another thing that I'll play. I don't know. I don't hate
Yeah,
the idea.
but the fact that they created a system, people are just gonna game it anyway, and then I don't know, it's
Yeah.
just got a little ridiculous and out of hand, I think.
All right.
And I just don't
It's okay. Yeah,
like it.
I don't really have a
So
strong
yeah.
opinion about it, but yeah. Hmm.
Um,
So yeah,
but
okay. So
I would
what
like to talk about the games that I found that I really liked.
before we do that, can I actually only got to see like two or three of them. Is there a list somewhere of all the games that were shown on the Steam thing? I don't want to mention all their names, but I want to briefly browse it to see if I missed anything really good.
Not that I mean, you could probably find it somewhere, but you'd have to like Google it or something. I just want to talk about the games I found
Go
because
for it.
they
Yeah.
are on my wish list, which is great. So, hang on, I want to make sure that I'm just organizing them so I can actually see them all.
Gosh, no,
All
I
right.
don't want an 18-minute YouTube video of it. Sorry, keep going.
All right. So, this one I knew was coming out anyway, but I
Wait.
didn't realize it would be for the I didn't know that it was going to be for this event and that was Creeper World 4. And
Yeah.
I am so excited for that one because that game is so much fun. Like just that whole series.
They did a great job with that.
Um,
I was kind of I don't know. I think I had more nostalgia goggles than I realized for Creeper Worlds because I think I've beaten the demo. I might have one more mission to do. Um, I I enjoyed it a bit less than I thought I would. I felt bad about that.
yeah. Well, all I saw in it was
Good stuff.
improvements on the last game, and it was just it did change enough stuff to actually be like to make the gameplay a little more interesting. Like more buildings, more ways to attack back and such.
Hmm.
And so I really enjoyed it. I'm excited for it because
Did
I,
they
I
have
literally just sat down and finished the demo in one sitting, and I'm like, yeah, I want more.
did they have those bugs in the last games?
No, well, they
Are
had
they
this
new?
flying spores.
Okay, gotcha. Right, I
That
remember
the
the
bugs are
spores.
new.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that system really threw me off for a while. There was one mission I was stuck on for a bit because I was like, why can't I just like, destroy the creeper and get on? And then I realized I have to set up the sniper rifles and missile launchers and stuff. It took me a minute.
So, so I'm excited about that, and I'm
Yeah.
glad I got to play a demo because
Okay.
I've been following the development for a little while. So,
Oh yeah. No,
um,
that's an exciting one. Did they have anything for Skatebird? Was that anything I missed?
I don't know.
Man,
That's not even on my wish list.
useless Jacob.
I know. What are you gonna do with me?
Oh wait, hold on. I just found a game actually that I'm really interested in this one. Or in the that was apparently promoted in that thing. It's called Lord Winklebottom Investigates. Did you see that one? Looks really
I
cute.
don't know, and I don't know if I want to see
It's a
it.
visual novel about a giraffe and a hippopotamus.
Oh yeah,
I
I
love
didn't
it.
look at any of the visual novels.
Oh, I love it. Lord Winklebottom. I gotta add this to my wish list. Okay, sorry, keep talking.
All right, so second game, and I know we were trying to stray away from lists, so I really do want to get through these quick. Exo One, which was a cool game about how you're like this alien sphere that can also fly,
How do you
and
spell
it's just
that?
EXO
Oh, XO1.
space
Gotcha.
EXO, yeah. You're just like this orb that can also fly, and so it's a really relaxing kind of flower or um the Abzu kind of game where there's not much to it, but I enjoyed it a lot.
That's really pretty looking. Wow. It looks like the graphics are insane on this thing. Does it really look that good?
It's nothing special.
Okay, it
Very
looks
very simple graphics actually.
okay.
It's like a little tricky to get a hang of the momentum system because you have to like you fly and then to gain speed you have to like increase your gravity so you like stick to the ground and go like down hills and gain speed, and then you like launch yourself off the other end. And so it's a little bit of tricky to get used to, but it was tons of just like relaxing fun to
Yeah,
once you got the hang of it.
it looks good. I love flour. I need more of that in my life.
Yeah. So this next one isn't something that I'm terribly excited. Actually, I kind of might just remove it. But it was the Rift Breaker, and it's supposed to be a top-down, like I don't want to say Diablo style, but what's like the type of game it is?
Um, top down. what's that thing called? Wait,
Hang on, I want to look at it.
is this a tower defense-esque one? Because when I think Diablo,
Yeah.
I'm thinking like a dungeon crawler. This is not a dungeon crawler.
Well, yeah, no, not dungeon. It's like a so here are the tags: strategy, base building, survival, hack and slash.
Looks like a tower defense game.
Um, there's a little bit of that, but it's largely about the base building and the hack and slash part, and
So
a
maybe like
little bit
a
of survival.
Age of Empires horde
So
mode, maybe.
no,
Like
because you're just
they
you're
are
just one character, and you go around and collect resources
okay.
and build like miners and stuff, so you can build your base.
So in between Factorio and They Are Billions, right? Maybe.
No,
No. What?
I mean it seemed fairly unique, but seemed pretty shallow,
Hmm.
and it was
Well, it
I
is
don't know
just a demo.
the voice acting was not good. I like oh my god, I just wanted to mute them all.
It was that bad.
It was really, really bad. It was like the developers were like, should we hire a Nah, we'll just do it ourselves.
Get Jerry. Jerry, come here.
Yeah.
Got a paper
Hey,
for you to
Jerry,
read.
you're Jerry the janitor, right?
Let's read this. Perfect. It's great.
So, yeah, I don't know if I'll get it. It's not high up on the list.
Okay. Interesting. It looks very pretty.
It looks prettier in the screenshots.
Oh, that's too
It
bad.
feels a little clunky. So,
All right, Riftbreaker.
but
Keep my eye on it.
so something I don't play a lot of, but if it's a good one, then I love. Sorry, I think I heard myself through your headphones.
Can you still hear yourself?
It was just for a second.
Okay. Well, let me know if it happens again.
All right. So I don't play a lot of space games, but I do like if I find the right one, I love it. And Everspace 2 is looking to be something that I'm gonna have a lot of time or a lot of fun in. Have you played the first Everspace?
Yes, I've played a little bit of it. It never grabs it. You know what's funny? Every time I see a space game, I'm like, oh my god, that looks amazing, and then I never enjoy them. I don't know what it is.
So the first Everspace is a roguelike, kind of like Faster Than Light, where you're jumping from like system to system, and then you can slowly but surely get upgrades through different runs.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the problems that I read in a review was that in the late game, oftentimes it's just all about like just grinding and grinding to get like to the later stuff. But Everspace 2 isn't a roguelike. It is open world with quests and stuff. And
Nice.
I actually really enjoyed it. I don't know how much depth it'll have and how much they're going to like add to it. But if they put enough time and effort into the different quests and stuff, so it doesn't feel too repetitive, I think it can actually be really, really, really good.
Wasn't there a game that just got released that I think I'm gonna try to find it and I'll mention it to you. There's one that you might be really interested in. Very much in the same vein. Keep talking.
Yeah, and so one of the things is that obviously since it's randomized loot, kind of like a dungeon crawler or whatever, you might get lucky and get like a really good gun and stuff or a really cool weapon, and you can change weapons on the fly too, which is really cool. So lots of, and you could upgrade little parts of your ship that you could just find through looting and all that. So I really liked it. Definitely looks promising. It says it's going to go into early access later this year, so I probably won't pick it up right away because I would much rather play a more complete product rather than burn myself out on like a more boring or simplified or buggy version of the game.
Yeah, I understand that.
All right, only a couple more, I promise.
That's fine. Oh, I think it's called Rebel Galaxy Outlaw. Let me try to see if this is the correct one. I don't want to tell you the wrong game name. Is it Rebel Galaxy Outlaw? Yes. Yes. You will probably enjoy Rebel Galaxy Outlaw. I'll try to show you that one later.
Not on Steam yet. That sucks.
It's very much the same thing. It's you go out in space and you're doing all bunch of stuff, but you can actually land on different planets. Well, you can't. It's not like you can land on the planet and walk around. You land inside of a station, and then you actually get like your character can move about the station to go, pick up different quest lines and start doing different things. It's a really, really cool one. I like it a lot. But we can talk about it a bit later. Keep talking about your list. I'm sorry.
All right, let me get back to it.
Man, I gotta get back into Rebel Galaxy Outlaw.
Where was I? All right, so
yes,
another one
I'm ready.
that I
Here we go.
really, really liked, and I actually played this demo twice,
Another
is
one.
Cyberhook, which
Cyberhook.
is it's a game all about grappling hooks and momentum, which, as you know, I love my physics games.
Oh yeah.
And it has a vaporwave aesthetic. So what's not to love about it? I literally played the demo twice because I'm just like, this is so much fun.
Okay, I've got it
and
open.
so I'm
What am I looking at here?
it's
Looking at screenshots.
you have a grappling hook,
Okay.
and you grapple onto things, and it's momentum based. So you like want to try and keep up your speed as much as possible.
Oh yeah, that sounds like a Jacob game.
And obviously, you know, the vaporwave aesthetic, and it just runs really smooth. It feels really, really nice to play.
So I got a question for you about this one then. How
Okay.
is the soundtrack? Because this game seems like it should have a really killer soundtrack.
I don't know if I actually really
Ah, that's too bad.
paid much. I think I did like it. I think I just turned up the music because it was like, oh, this game is exactly what I'm looking for right now. But I don't remember it.
Got it.
So yeah,
Interesting.
I'm really excited about it. Release date Q3 2020. So
Hey, coming out pretty soon here.
I hope so.
Yeah.
All right, and then
What else you
last one I saw from. So I have a. We can like move to another topic after this.
Actually, I've got
but
two
there are
to
because
mention
there are
after you.
so there are a couple other games I want to talk about, but they weren't a part of this event.
Mhm.
So
Oh yeah. Well, I figured it's kind of a bummer because we kind of got cheated out of doing an E3 thing. So I think we're probably going to spend a decent amount of time in this podcast just talking about things we saw that were interesting.
yeah.
Just keep going.
So this last one is Moncage.
What? How do you spell that?
Moncage. Think of like mono, but without the ending O.
Okay.
So Moncage. And it looked like just a simple puzzle game where you have like this what's the word?
Escape game?
Non-Euclidean cube that you like rotate, and they have to line up things inside the cube.
Gotcha.
So
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see.
yeah.
So,
And so it looked pretty interesting. It just intrigued me just enough to be like, yeah, I'll keep an eye on that.
Is it called a non-Euclidean? I kind of want to say surreal thing, but it's not
No,
exactly surreal.
non-Euclidean is because
Is that
I
what it's
think like a
called?
non-Euclidean doorway would be something that like doesn't physically make sense,
Okay.
and will like teleport you to
Gotcha.
I'm probably wrong, but
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
yes.
I've got two games to mention. I wish I had more games. You know, okay, so I really liked the Steam thing that they did, the whole Steam festival. The event for PlayStation was terrible. I feel bad. Well, and I get it, like they didn't have very much to show. It seemed, you know what, that's not true. They had a lot to show. Most of the games were terrible. There was only two games to mention, and honestly, really just one game. I don't remember what it's called. It was the game where, hold on, Robot World Cat game is all I remember from it.
Robot. Oh, yeah, I want to type this in too.
Stray. It's called Stray.
Oh, is that the one with the yarn? No,
I don't think so. No, it's a game where you play as a cat and you live in a world of robots after the humans have died. And honestly, it doesn't look good. I just have to mention it because Emily went nuts for it when she saw it because she just wants to play as a cat. But I'm like, yeah, this just seems like a walking simulator, but you're a cat instead of a person.
So I would also like to point out it has a Steam page, so it looks like it will. Yeah, I think they're going to be released at the same time on PlayStation 5 and PC.
Nice.
So it's not. That's funny how it's not even an exclusive.
Yeah, they showed that, and then the only other one was Bug Snacks, which honestly doesn't look great, but I had to mention it because it's from the people who made Octodad Dadliest Catch, and I gotta.
So I can. Yeah, it's probably gonna be that type of game then.
I think it's worse than that though. I feel bad. Like I want to like it more, but I can't. I don't know. I like this developer because Octodad was hilarious, but I don't know. I hope this game has a lot to offer, but I really don't know.
Octodad had about the longevity as Goat Simulator.
Yeah,
because it's just that kind of where it's really good, for YouTubers to make videos of.
I'd spend $15 on it.
I mean, I got it for free in like a Humble Bundle or something, I think.
Yeah, that's
and I haven't
right.
even played it, so
Yeah, I don't think this develop. I don't remember what their name is. What's the name of this developer again? Let me see.
Their name is the creators of Octodad.
Hold on. Bug Snacks, developed by Young Horses. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did not know that at all.
emphasis on the young and Young Horses. I just don't think this developer has gotten there yet. But I'm glad they're doing something else because Octodad did have really good reception, and I'm sure it made them a small fortune. So yeah, hope they get that. Anyways, the two that I actually liked this year were two that I've already seen before, which I was upset about. But they are
That's
releasing this
unfortunate.
year. Say what?
What are they?
So after Steam had their whole thing, Devolver had their own like pseudo press conference thing, which I feel bad I didn't get more involved in. So they didn't just do a well, okay, they didn't do a press conference at all. Their thing got pushed off, but they released a game on Steam, which is I think it's just like it's a 3D booth where you can go in and look at all of the games that they've made, which was
Oh,
kind of a
that's interesting.
yeah, it was kind of a fun idea.
So, speak
So
real quick. Speaking of Devolver,
yeah,
did they do continue the story from last year?
they haven't done it yet,
Oh no,
right? Okay,
I need to know.
so for everyone
The lore
listening,
is incomplete.
right? For everyone listening, you need to go back and watch all of the press conferences Devolver's ever done. Okay, there's a
Well,
whole
there's like
story there.
2 or 3 of them now that matter.
Oh, is that it? I thought there was more than
Oh
that.
yeah, no,
That's
it's
too bad.
only been a few years since they started, but they did like it's like a parody of press conferences, making fun at E3 and all the other
Yes,
giant game company press conferences.
yes, but
But there's
people
like somehow
die.
lore connected between
Yeah.
them, and there's giant fountains of blood.
Oh
So
yeah,
that's all
huge
you need to
fountains of
know.
blood. There's people impersonating other ones because they were cloned, or I think the CEO was cloned once or twice, and then shot in the face with a shotgun. And I love it. I want that next episode, but we gotta wait for it a little bit. They said something about it, like it's coming. They just I
Okay.
it prop
Yeah.
honestly is it was probably just not the correct tone for everything going on right
Well,
now.
I would say more so that they probably weren't able to record it because of COVID. So they probably
That's
weren't able to like hire actors and all that.
yeah, that's very possible too. I don't know how early they record it, but yeah, that is very
Oh
very
yeah,
possible.
probably in the months leading up.
hmm But anyways, they had two games that I did really appreciate. They had and again, they've been seen before, like they've shown them off, but now they're like right about to come out. I think it's like 2 months before both of them come out. The first one is
Yeah,
Carrion, which I don't know if you remember. It's a
it's on my wish list. Yeah.
yeah, 2D side scroller where you play as this huge monster trying to get out of a lab. I really appreciate it. I hope it's good. It looks really good. It looks like they're doing something really interesting with it, and it could be done very, very well. The one I'm very interested in though is Fall Guys, which I hope you already have on your wish list. Um,
I think I might. I saw you add it to your wish list recently because I think they'd finally added the Steam page or something.
yeah, do you
Or
remember
no,
what that?
you can pre-order it now, and it said
Yes,
you owned it.
yeah, yeah. So Fall Guys is it's like a Mario Party battle royale. Might be the best way to describe it. It
Yeah, that's the best way. Yeah.
yeah, it's really cool. It's not like a normal battle royale where you're actually like competing with other people. It's more like you all have a goal to get to, and it's like a race. It's a huge race. The whole game, and the first and the players are eliminated as they fall below the certain threshold. But I absolutely love it. It seems like a really really good time. It's something I might spend a ton of time in. So yeah,
Nice.
yeah, that was all I kind of had. It was, I mean, obviously it was going to be a little bit lackluster for this year. But I mean, there was a couple ones that we kind of all anticipated coming out, like what was it? There's a new Spider-Man game coming out, or at least I think it's a $40, almost expansion pack for Spider-Man for PlayStation 4. And then
Oh,
there,
really?
yeah, and then it's really good. It covers Miles Morales this time, which I'm really excited about.
Nice.
Yeah, and then there's a second Horizon Zero Dawn, which everyone was really hoping for, and I'm super excited. Oh, I forgot to tell you about the best one. They're recreating Demon Souls for PlayStation 5. I love it. I
How
love it. Oh my
boring.
god. Oh my god, I'm excited.
Everything's just a remaster these
I
days.
know, I'm gonna buy that game so many times. I feel terrible about that. Like I shouldn't want to do that. I'd never do that for like Skyrim or any of the other one. You know what? I could buy Skyrim one more time. I actually really enjoyed that one. For some, I have more fond memories for Grand Theft Auto 5, but I would never consider buying GTA 5 again. I don't ever want to go back to that world. I feel strange about that. But Skyrim, for some reason, if they make a mobile release, I want to check it out. Like I'm not going to spend $60. I'll spend like $5 on it, but I'd love to see that. I don't know. Anyways, that was all I really had to talk about with that. Was there any other games that you found interesting?
There were a couple that I've been following for a little bit of time that weren't a part of the actual
Like what?
indie thing. So one of them is, where is it? So if actually finally just got a Steam page and a name a couple months ago.
Yeah.
It's called Teardown.
Why do I know that? Tear down.
So what makes this game really interesting to me is I found the creator of it and on YouTube, and he was making a bunch of videos about like the game engine he was making.
Construction
And
Simulator? Is that the one?
what makes it destruction, yeah.
Destruction
So what makes
Simulator.
it interesting is it's voxel based, but it's also with physics, so you can like knock down buildings and stuff, and also
Hmm.
ray traced. So we're
Ooh.
talking like lots of computing power, but as far as I can tell, it seems to run reasonably well.
Hmm.
Like I'm really curious to know what the performance is going to be like, because all those things combined just not add up to like, run on your potato laptop kind of game.
Yeah, man, this voxel
Um,
thing is really throwing me off because
but
like it's about like being a construction car doing this stuff. But the construction car looks really good from like 20 feet back, but the moment you zoom in, you're like, oh, this is like Minecraft blocky. That's interesting.
which one are you watching? Are you watching the
I'm just looking at
video?
screenshots right now. Does it look
Oh,
better? Is it just normal when you look at a
I mean,
video?
no, it's voxel based. That's how everything's gonna look. And I don't think, as far as voxel games go, I think the graphics look more than adequate.
No, no,
Because
I'm
there's
not
like
saying
a
it's
there's like
bad.
a
I just it's very jarring because like from 20 feet back, because there's pictures of it more zoomed out, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. It's like a really good looking car because of the ray tracing. It looks incredible, and then you zoom in, you're like, oh no, they're ray tracing like a voxel car. It was just jarring for a second. And it's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad at all.
Yeah, but I think the whole premise. So he made this, and then I think the premise he's going with for a game
Hmm.
is it's like a heist. So you come to the place and you have to like inspect the area, and you have to figure out how you're gonna do this goal. Like maybe say disable 3 security cameras within 60 seconds. But what you can do is you can obviously destroy the world. You can place like planks and stuff, and you can get everything set up before you destroy the first camera and the timer starts counting down.
See, that's interesting. That's actually a really
So
interesting idea for a game.
yeah, so like one of the examples he showed was you have to get this safe out, and what he did is he just made a hole in the building underneath the safe, drove his dump truck in there, and then tore out the floor underneath the safe and drove away with it in the dump truck.
I love it.
So that I love the concept. Not only like I've already mentioned in this podcast, I love the physics games. I mean, in destruction physics games, tons of fun. Voxel based can be fun because they're usually related to physics. So
It's a win-win
I
situation.
mean, I'm really hopeful for this game.
Trying to find
Oh,
something
I
quick.
love this. It says related to games I've played or similar to games I've played. Rainbow Six Siege. Uh,
I'm sold, I
yeah,
get. I guess I'm
about
sold.
that. Not even close.
Oh man, that's funny. I mean, you are performing some kind of heist, and well, you're kind of you're not. It's not a heist, but it's no. I don't even know why I'm trying to link these two games. There's no link here.
There's no link
That
at
is
all.
funny.
So
It's like
so
Rainbow
one
Six
other
Siege.
one other game that I kept an eye on
Yeah,
was something called Bright Memory,
Bright Memory. Interesting.
and it's a single player first person shooter, but it's
I'm game.
really really well done, and I would say
Oh, oh,
it looks great,
seeing screenshots.
and
Wow.
the mechanics are really tight. Enemies are bullet sponge in it. I'm just gonna say that right now, so
Hmm.
that might turn you off a little.
A little
But
bit, but I mean, I'm used to it by now.
yeah, but I would say it's like kind of like the indie version of Titanfall 2's campaign.
It looks
Like
like
you can tell it's kind of not done like it's completely polished, but what is there is still actually really well done despite the I don't know, I think there's only like one guy or like a couple of guys working on it.
So, did you say this was a multiplayer or a single player
Single
or
player.
okay.
So there's actually a demo. Actually, no, wait, no, I bought the game. I bought the game because it was on sale for like $8.
Oh, it's
So
out?
so it's app. So there's Bright Memory and then there's Bright Memory Infinite. Bright Memory is like the proof of concept kind of demo
Gotcha.
of the full game. And so
Wow.
Bright
This
Memory
is
Infinite is supposed to be a much larger experience, a full campaign and all that. So it looks great. It plays really well, and there's a lot of there's different skills you have. You have a couple. So there's a lot to explain, but so one of the major parts of it is you have this kind of blue energy sword, or you have a sword and it like has energy or mystical fantasy. I don't know, something
yeah.
like that. And so you have your sword, but then you also have different abilities that you can do, and if you combo them with a sword or you combo them together, you can get really cool effects and do lots of damage and such. So it's a lot of figuring out how best to utilize them, and just a lot of like strategy, I guess. So I really like it.
This is amazing. I'm looking up everything about it because I'm like, okay, it looks like a Chinese game, and so I started looking at it, I'm like, okay, I can see the Chinese writing. It's definitely Chinese. But when I'm looking it up online, there's no mention of Tencent anywhere. Now I want it. I'm like super whoa, Android and iOS release. What?
What? I don't know.
Android Bright Memory. Is there a page for it? Hold on. Whoa, there is. Holy crap.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
What
okay.
on earth? Well, I'm just like, I mean, it's just cool when they do stuff like this. I mean, usually for an iOS release now, because everything's ARM based, so they can just tone down the graphics a lot and toss it in. But that's interesting. No, I want to try it out. Sorry,
Yeah.
did I give you a bad taste for the game when I said it was possibly a mobile game as
Well, I
well?
mean, I'm just never gonna acknowledge that it exists, and I'll be fine.
Oh man, you're so funny with that. Oh hey, we did also get more. We got some info on the next Far Cry game coming out. I know you don't care very much, but it's worth mentioning because it was kind of interesting. The
Yeah, I'm
nuance.
gonna make sure to not buy that one.
You don't like it? Did you see something you really hated, or did you just not like Far Cry?
I just don't like Far Cry. Like, I'll admit, like, I'll give Far Cry 3 the fact that it was pretty influential in terms of open world games in it,
Hmm.
but I never liked 3. I found it kind of boring, and Far Cry 5
Oh, that was
was
bad.
just
That was not
it
good.
was boring as well. It was even more boring than the third one,
They're
because
so
it was like what 10 years later and it hadn't brought anything new to the table really. It
yeah,
was more of like a product of the tropes of open world at that point.
exactly. I'm everyone's kind of hoping they're doing more with it. They just did that with Assassin's Creed. So apparently, I haven't actually played either of them because I fell off of Assassin's Creed right after like the Italian Renaissance games were finished. Because Assassin's Creed started I think in Jerusalem, and then it moved to Italy, and then they did one in the U.S. and in the Caribbean and all these different places. I played the Caribbean one and I did like that, but I really don't count that one very much. Anyways, they made one set in Egypt and then one set in Greece, and apparently those two games really moved along the series and added a lot of stuff to bring it into the 21st century and make it more, that's the wrong term, but they modernized it. They added a lot of new mechanics and a lot of new things. Everyone's really hoping they do that for Far Cry. But I mean, no matter what, Far Cry is so funny. It's like a comfort food game. Like it's not a great game. It I don't know. It feels like eating a bag of chips. Like it's just nice. Like it's just a
You say comfort food as if it's something I ever really want to go back to,
no,
because
it's not.
I've never felt the urge to go back to it. I'll see it in my
I'm
library and I'll
I'm
be like,
Jacob, I'm
oh, I
not
put some.
talking about you. I'm talking about me.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, it's like how you probably feel about like Killing Floor. Like, is it the best game you've ever played? No, but it's always fun to go back to.
I mean, it's a pretty good game.
Yeah, like it's just like, yeah, I can do that. I think that's how anyone playing Far Cry feels about it. It's not like the best game they've ever played. Everyone kind of knows they're going to be a little bit disappointed with it, but it's a nice game to go back to. So I'm excited a little bit about it. It's set in Mexico this time, and it has one of the main bad guys from Breaking Bad, which is kind of fun. But yeah.
Wait, is it like officially licensed, or is it just like a parody of him?
Oh, sorry. No, it's the same actor. Sorry, I should have been
Oh,
more
okay,
specific.
okay. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh wow, so it's Breaking Bad, the Far Cry game? What?
That would be kind of fun. I'd love to see someone try that. I could see them
There'll be a mod for it one day. Don't worry.
if it isn't already. Oh man. Okay, I need a short break.
That was a lot of video game talk.
That was a whole lot of video game talk. So Tesla here.
What?
I didn't have
But why
anything
is
else to say
Tesla
on
the
it.
most valuable company in the world?
Oh, it just because it is de facto now. I don't remember what else I had to say on it other than that.
But why would you say it's so more valuable? Because I would say Apple with its bucket loads of cash might be more valuable.
Well, Apple's not a car company.
Oh, that's right. You did say car company.
Yeah, it is worth more than any other car company in the world right now. All of its stock is worth more. There's more money in it.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, that topic's done.
Mm-hmm. Woohoo!
So, speaking of Tesla and other Elon Musk related things.
Oh yeah, Starlink.
Starlink.
Tell
Yeah.
me
So
about
I'm interested in that. So what Starlink is and how it works is, as opposed to regular satellite internet, where satellites are in a fixed location above a spot on Earth because of their geostationary orbit. Starlink, there's a ton of little satellites that orbit much closer to Earth, and so that hopefully means you'd get better like bandwidth, you'd get better latency and all that. And so I'm really hoping it works out well because I would love to try it.
Have you
But
seen?
right now they're just doing the beta testing is just in like northern, like Pacific Northwest, Northern America, and Southern Canada.
Have you seen
So
the Starlink satellites yet?
I've seen them. Yeah, I've done a decent amount of reading. Not like I say decent amount, but like I'm acquainted with them.
But have you seen them?
Yeah. Oh, I haven't looked up in the sky, no, but I've seen
Okay,
pictures of them.
so I was in the hot tub with Emily back at her old apartment. And I think it was like July or something of last year. I don't remember exactly when it was. I just remember we both looked up in the sky, or I was just randomly just like, lazily looking around. And she looks up and she goes, "Is it Christmas time?" And I go, "No, it's like July. What are you talking about?" She's like, "I'm pretty sure I see something that looks like Santa's sleigh up there." And so I look up and there's this chain of lights like as high as a what is it? A plane. Like up at plane level, there's just this giant chain of lights which looks like Santa's sleigh.
What?
Just lazily drifting through the sky. And so I started looking into I'm like, okay, I've got to look this up once we get out of here. So we got out of the hot tub and I went inside and I started Googling this, and apparently that's how they've been getting up, is in these like large chains that you can see just
Yeah.
floating through the sky, and they're all lit up. It was just the funniest thing. I was like, what
Yep.
on earth? But yeah, it's been this
I don't know if
phenomenon.
it was a year ago. I think it was more recent than that.
Okay.
But yeah, no, that was actually one of a big concern from all the astronomers is, oh well, if there's a lot of
Oh
them and
yeah,
they're
no,
like,
astronomers hate them. It's gonna
yeah,
do terrible things to astronomy. Poor guys.
but
Maybe that's what Elon Musk can do next, though, because if astronomers are mad at that, but if Elon Musk builds a moon satellite that they can all use,
oh, there you go,
oh
a
yeah,
moon
see
satellite.
that solves the problem right there. They'd love him for that. That'd be amazing. That's actually not a terrible use of it either, of the moon.
Yeah,
That's a perfect
I
use
just
of it.
I bring Starlink up though because
Yeah.
what they were letting you do for a while was put in your zip code so they could get like a general idea of where interest was and where they might do closed betas and such.
Hmm.
And recently they changed it so that you can input your address so they can get even more precise stuff.
Nice.
And I got to thinking I would totally beta test it because it's not supposed to be a reliable internet. They said,
Yeah.
if you want to use it for like work or business or anything, it's not going to happen because we're still like working on the details.
Oh yeah, of course not. It's supposed to connect the
But
worlds.
yeah, but I would love to try it and just have two internet connections running in my house,
Hmm.
but only if the upload is decent. Because I was thinking that could actually be the solution to letting me get good upload.
Well, what are you actually? Actually, that's not a terrible idea, huh? Because I
The
was
problem
thinking.
is that, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was thinking like, I was kind of guffawing at it for a minute because I'm like, oh, Jacob thinks he's going to be able to force his family to watch YouTube off of that so that he can have the good internet. And then I'm like, no, no, no. He's actually that's not what he's thinking at all. What he's thinking is you can use it for like slow upload speeds where you need to upload some stuff, but it can just run in the background forever, and you can just
Oh,
forget
well,
about it.
I mean, I hope the upload is actually decent enough to do streaming on, because the problem with
Whoa.
my current internet is that it's not consistent enough. It can sometimes
Mm,
just drop really low. It does. So that the problem though is that I have really good upload. I can get like 15 megabits.
yeah.
10 is usually about where it sits, but I've seen bursts of 15 megabits. The
Hmm.
problem though is it requires multiple concurrent connections. So if I'm
Mm,
like uploading files to a server, and I have like, 10 different files uploading at the same time, easy upload speeds. But the problem with something like Twitch is that it's just one single connection. And so that drops down low oftentimes.
Interesting.
So I was thinking like, oh yeah, I already have my old, have like a case, old motherboard, old graphics card, old CPU. I totally have a second computer I could just use as a streaming PC and hook that up to the internet, and I'd be golden.
Yeah, I don't know. Starlink's weird for me. I don't know how well. I don't know that it just seems so strange to me to do the internet that way because what am I trying to say here? It doesn't seem like you could keep a stable enough connection for any length of time doing it that way. I mean, I'm assuming there's supposed to be enough satellites to where you don't have that issue, but you're still talking about you're basically sticking a router up in the upper atmosphere, which is supposed to have. I'd assume they'd want thousands of connections at the same time. That's a lot of stress on that thing.
Well, yeah, they're launching like what, 180 or 100 satellites with every launch.
No, that's fair. I mean, if it's a big enough network, I guess they could do it. It's just that's fascinating. Like that would be a huge like leap forward in human ingenuity. Like that's I don't know.
Yeah,
I'd say that's probably about as big as like the Great Wall of China. Getting the entire world connected to the same internet source, that's incredible. That'd be
yeah. It'll take a while though because it's only based in the northern hemisphere and even then pretty far north.
oh yeah, absolutely.
So I think there's actually a certain band they can't have any of the satellites in
Is it like
because it would
military?
actually, well, it would interfere with geostationary orbits.
Oh, gotcha.
So I think around the equator they can't have anything, which is why it's starting so far north.
Mm.
But yeah, no, that was just something that came up, and I was thinking, man, that'd be really nice. I'd love to try that out.
Yeah, it'd be great. I hope at some point we all just start tossing in with that because if that does well, man, that it'd be so nice to get rid of carriers. I hate carriers.
Well, I mean, it's a carrier in itself. It's just
It
the
would
cell towers are in space.
it would be, but if we could have one single one with maybe I shouldn't be hoping for a monopoly on that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'll pass on the monopoly.
Yeah. Oh well, it's a nice idea
But
right
it's
now.
Elon Musk's monopoly, so it must be good.
That's fair. That's fair. Man, we're thinning out these topics too fast, Jacob.
I mean, a lot of these aren't exactly huge topics. They're just cool little things I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Anything you wanted to? Because I still have a lot of talking left to do.
um, I'm trying to figure out if I have anything else to say on the Nvidia Shield. I don't remember why I put that up there. Oh, well, I mean, actually, I can talk about how I've been using my Nvidia Shield. You might like that a little bit.
Yeah,
So,
because when did you get your shield again?
so I got my Shield for my birthday last year. My parents were asking, "What do you want?"
That's
I'm
right.
like, honestly, I don't want anything. Like a new pair of shoes, maybe. Like I'm at that point, when you hit like 22 or something, and you're like, I don't care about presents. Like, are you gonna buy me a car? No,
Yeah.
okay, then whatever. But they kept asking, and Corey, my little sister, she's very gift oriented. So she's like, listen, name anything you want. Like, just I know you love games. I know you love electronics. Like, go. I'm like, yeah, but I'm good. Like, I don't need it. But she finally pushed me. I was like, okay, the Nvidia Shield's kind of cool. I want to check this thing out. And I don't think I've ever talked about it actually on the podcast. This might be a good time to do it.
I'm pretty sure you have.
Okay, well, whatever. So what the Nvidia Shield is essentially it's a small Google or not a small Google thing. It's a small Android streaming box, and it's very very good at what it does. Incidentally, actually, the Chromecasts are starting to get they're kind of getting rid of the Chromecast line because Chromecast is essentially you can just hook your phone up to it and play whatever's on your phone. They're switching from that model to actually making streaming sticks for the back of TV, which I really like. But anyways, the Nvidia Shield is this really really nice one. They have their own app store. I think you can play. I want to say Fortnite can even play on this thing, the Nvidia Shield. Like they've done a really good job at building it. I mean, Nvidia's a really good company, anyways. But
Eh,
what it's you don't like Nvidia? I like Nvidia.
little too. What's the word? Like they act like too monopolistic. Monopolistic? How would you say that?
I mean they try to make very premium products and pretend they're the best at everything, which isn't necessarily true.
Yeah, and I'm also not a fan of how closed source they like all their stuff to be, as
Yeah,
opposed to in AMD.
I get that. But what it does allow them to do is they have a big chunk of money to do some stuff with. And I really like the Nvidia Shield. Everyone who's reviewed it, like especially one of the reasons I got it was because of I mean, I've been looking for something like this, and I kept seeing this one pop up again and again. I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I saw Linus Tech Tips, and Linus was like, this is the best thing I've ever had. Like, he refuses to use anything else in his house now because he loves this thing so much. And I gotta say, it's pretty incredible. The remote's wonderful. It's great. But the best thing about it, though, the reason I like it is because with a lot of other streaming devices, you're not able. I shouldn't say a lot of others. With the ones I've used, you're not able to plug in external sources to this thing. And what I really liked about this one is you had the ability to run something like a Plex server with a huge, library in the background. So what I ended up doing is I ended up getting this huge library of movies and music and photos and stuff and loading it all on there just to make sure I never like was without it again. Like I always had access to this stuff and I was like I wonder if this will, become interesting. One of the big things for it too was really old musicals. I like old musicals and so I loaded a ton of them on there. So I made this and I was like I don't know when I'll need this, but I bet at some point Emily and I will be in a situation where we'll be in a new place. For some reason, our internet will go out or something, and we'll want something to do. And this will be really nice. And that finally happened because Emily just moved. And she
Yeah, I was
was
gonna say, wait, hang on a second.
exactly. So she was without internet for about a week. And so every time we went over to go, unload boxes and set up furniture and stuff, I could just go to my like remote and click Fiddler on the Roof, and it would just play perfectly. Um, through the TV. It was really wonderful having that, and I really liked having my own personal media server right there. And it got me thinking about building a bigger media server, but that's far down the road. But anyways, it's just really nice. It comes with this feature on it called I don't know. They do this really nice AI upscaling for 4K, and it works really really well. Before I used it, I was watching Linus do a whole bunch of side by side tests on it, and he was showing he's like listen if you're doing from 1080p to 4K I honestly can't see a difference like there's no difference between actual normal 4K and this AI upscaling. They just did a really good job with it. So I tried to do it on mine between 720p and 4K, which was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh man, you know what? It actually worked really well for the old movies because they were so old and already had that grainy effect. It actually just looked like slightly more grain, but still had that 4K upscaling, which was nice, I guess. But it was too much for some of them. Um, but yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
I'll
just
bet.
yeah, I just really like my Nvidia Shield. I don't remember why I put it in the show notes, but it is really cool. I definitely recommend getting it if you're looking for some kind of solution for it. I think you were mentioning for a while that you'd like a TV in your room, right?
I'd want a TV, but I already have the what's it called? The Plex server part down.
I gotcha.
So I wouldn't actually need it.
Mm, mm-hmm. Makes sense. Well, anyone who isn't as savvy as you with this stuff, it's really nice. It was great because I'm savvy with computers, but I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. And I liked this thing because it really kind of seemed like anyone could pick this thing up and, use it as a media server if they wanted to. It was easy to load up the libraries of stuff that I had. It was easy to find all of the metadata for it. I don't know. It was just nice. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's honestly the end of my topics. I want to do another one of yours, and then I don't know what else to do. I feel like we haven't gone long enough, but I bet we have. Yeah, we've gone
Um.
long enough.
Oh, but I really like these last two I have.
No, no, talk about them. By all means, go for it. I want to hear it.
Okay. Okay. So I'll start with the this weird one: trend of upvotes versus downvotes given.
Okay.
So you know how there's that huge thing about how the EU is making it so you could request data from companies, and then now most companies you can request data from.
Yes.
So I did that for my Reddit account, and it takes something ridiculously long for most companies, like a month.
Mm-hmm.
I think the fastest I've ever gotten it is a week. Reddit took like a month. I'd completely forgotten I did it,
Okay.
and then they're just like, "Oh, here you go, download it." So I took a look, and one of the cool things that I found was it was a spreadsheet of the post or the comment or well, there was actually two. It was one was either the post and then the other you had upvoted and downvoted it, or and then the comment and whether you upvoted or downvoted it.
Hmm.
And I took a look at those, and I didn't do anything special. I just it's ordered from oldest to newest, and I went down the list and I noticed there's a weird trend where at the beginning I was like only ever upvotes, like super positive, like, oh, I like that, click upvote. And then I noticed about halfway through, oh, okay, there's, more downvotes getting mixed in. And then at the end, like the most recent ones, the majority of them were downvotes. Like it had completely switched from like a 9-to-1 ratio at the beginning of upvote to downvote,
Yeah.
and then it had completely switched at the end. And
So
I
what do you
realized, I don't like this trend.
what do you think about that? Is it because are you looking at it as like it says something about you as a person? What are you thinking?
Well, I think it has to do, a lot to do with current events. I think is
Oh no, have
one
you been
major
getting
thing.
into the weeds on that stuff? Oh,
No, I haven't. In fact, I try to act. I have an add-on called Reddit Enhancement Suite, which lets me hide stuff, and I have hid so much stuff, even from like stuff relevant to our city,
yeah.
keeps getting posted there, and I'm like, no, I don't care about this that much. Like,
I was talking to someone last night about how the World News subreddit was my absolute favorite, and like I thought it was essential for everyone to have, as of about 7 months ago, and now I do not touch it. I will not go anywhere near that subreddit. I can't do it. I
no,
cannot do it.
I don't touch anything news related on Reddit
Yeah.
unless it's like hyper specific, like anything tech news or tech related.
Hmm.
So, like for one, Data Hoarder, which is all about basically home labs and tons of storage space. We're talking, terabytes and terabytes and terabytes.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. Yeah, you get some interesting news articles, and that's great. But something so general as world news that can apply to literally anyone in the world, that's just going to be a cesspool of yeah.
Incidentally, I just remembered something. I saw an article. I don't know if you saw it as well. It looks like Nvidia is stopping the RTX 20 series and moving on to the 30 series. It seems really early to do that.
Well, theoretically, they could release their things as early as next month.
Man, that's crazy. It just seems like the 20s just barely came out. I mean, I
So
guess I just
you
got.
say that like they didn't come out 2 years ago.
I understand that. I mean, I just barely got my laptop a little while ago, but man,
Oh yeah.
that's just crazy to me. Oh well. I just wanted to mention it. Um,
Yeah, I heard. I think it's just rumors at this point, but yeah.
yeah. Interesting. Well, I'm sorry your life has gotten more I mean, I think everyone's life has gotten a little bit more negative lately. I'm glad we're doing
Yeah,
stuff
there
like.
was
Say what?
there was a point during quarantine where I was just like, man, this really really sucks. Like actually genuinely my quality of life is like at one of the lowest points it's ever been.
I
And
think
I'm
everyone
like,
feels
yeah,
that.
I don't like this.
You know what? We need to do a movie night soon. I was thinking about that. I think it'd be fun to talk about on this podcast too. I've been talking about Dracula a lot with you. Well, not a lot with you, but I've mentioned it before. I think that would be a really funny one that you could really get into. I think you'd enjoy the story quite a bit. And it's only like 3 episodes long.
Yeah, I know you've talked about that a couple
Yeah,
times.
I think that'd be a fun movie night for us. I think you'd really appreciate that one.
Hot Pockets and Dracula.
Oh, well, hey, can I use that as the title for the podcast? Do you mind?
Yeah, that's a
Boom.
great title.
Hot Pockets and Dracula. Got it.
And the cool thing is they had to wait until the end before they can even
No.
know what it's about.
That's perfect. Okay.
They'll hear the part about the
Hot
hello.
Pockets.
Hot Pockets at the beginning,
Hmm.
and then they'll be like, but where's Dracula?
I'm gonna write it down in here just so I don't forget. You know, it once I name it this, we have to finish the Dracula series, so we can
Oh
talk about it next
no.
time. It's only 3 episodes long. It's really not much.
Are they like 45 minutes, an hour?
I think so. They're not like Sherlock episodes. They're not like these huge movie
Yeah.
episodes or anything. It's just fun.
Okay.
I just laughed so much when I saw that show. I just think you'll find it hysterical. Um, oh man. Okay, this last one. You have the word pitch. That's it. It's just the word pitch.
So do you want to know what that is?
Yes, I would love to know what that is.
I know you're gonna laugh at this, but it's the name I gave one of my keyboards. Because
We're naming
what
them now?
happened is a year or two ago, I got it was this cheap keyboard kit that I asked for Christmas, and I got it, and it was the first keyboard kit that I made, or assembled, I should say. And I liked it, but I never really used it. And so I decided, okay, you know what? I want to practice some parts of keyboard making keyboards and stuff. So one of the things I did is I desoldered all the switches and I took every single switch, I think like what, 60, 61 switches apart.
Jeez.
And I put lubricant, or it was like a grease inside of each one of them. And I also put like a film between the top and bottom of the switch casing so they'd be more sturdy.
Okay.
I put lubricant on all the stabilizers, which are like the things that like help keep the really wide keys, like the space helps keep them stable.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the name, stabilizer. So I did a lot of cool little, like, I don't want to say pretentious, but it's like the kind of stuff that you would only ever think of doing is if you were like followed the subreddit for mechanical keyboards. But I really like the way it turned out. Like it is so nice, and I know that if I was to build another keyboard, I could do a much better job now with the experience I have. So
I have a question for you. I have a couple questions actually. First of all,
okay,
is it a boy or a girl?
it's a boy.
Okay, gotcha.
And the reason it's called Pitch is because it is an all black keyboard.
Oh, that was my other question.
Black keycaps on top and blank as well, and a nice.
Oh, you're one of those people now. Oh,
what do you mean? Like I can already touch type, no problem. It's literally not even a problem for me.
I wish I had that ability. I've wanted that so bad. In college, that would have been so amazing because there was a lot of times where I'd be with a lot of my friends and they'd be typing. So we had to do these lab reports for science class, obviously. And a big part of that was transcribing large parts of a document we were given into text on a keyboard. And it took me 3 times as long as everyone else because they're like, you can't just look at it and type as you're looking. I'm like, no, I need to like look at the keyboard to see exactly where my hands were.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I want to learn to do that. I feel like I'm getting better at it. Like I can almost do it because I can. It's funny because when I'm not thinking about it, I can do it. Like I can type in the dark. Typing in the dark is no problem for me. It's just some weird mental block.
Yeah. So actually, using it now though, I find that I can touch type, but it's the getting situated part that's usually the hardest for me for some reason. So it's usually the most extremes, like I, O, and U, and P on the top right. I usually have trouble with, and then the numbers up top are sometimes kind of hard to hit correctly. But so I guess I do tend to glance at the keyboard occasionally, but I'm pretty sure like give me a week and I'll be fine.
Oh, I actually have something just to end with. I think you'll appreciate this.
Oh, well, I wasn't.
Oh, sorry. Finish then.
I wasn't done unless you wanted me to talk about the process and stuff.
No.
I just want to tell you why I like it so much.
Oh, no, go for it.
Because I'm really happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go on.
But just what you can imagine the grease does inside each tiny keycap is I actually had to take a key. So I have to separate it, and it comes in 4 parts. You have the spring, you have the plunger, which moves up and down, and then you have the top and the bottom of the housing.
Yeah.
And so I had to put grease on certain spots in every single one of those, and I used a paintbrush and all that. And so it took forever. Obviously, I think it took like 3 hours. I did over the course of a couple days. But it makes the keycaps feel really, really nice. And so when you've heard the whole like, oh yeah, keyboard go click clack, right? Well, in this keyboard, it only goes clack. I can't. It sounds really, really nice.
So you're saying on the hammer down is the only time when it makes a noise. When it's pulling up, it doesn't make any noise.
Yeah, it's much quieter. The keycaps feel really smooth. So they're linear switches. So there's no bump or anything in them, and there's no click or anything, or no tactile or audio feedback. But because of that, it feels really smooth with the grease, and it's just so nice to type on now.
So I have a question for you. It's just a small question, but whenever I'm using mechanical keyboards, they always feel too bulky and big, and it's honestly probably just because I'm not used to them. But I'd like something larger than the chiclet style. So is there a type of keyboard that has like a medium height to it? Does that make sense?
You can get low profile keycaps.
Okay.
I know there are definitely low profile. mechanical keyboards.
Interesting. I might look into that later.
But I like the bulkiness of them. Well,
Oh yeah.
actually, I should say you can get such a variety that.
Oh yeah, no, it seems wonderful for that. It's something that I've always kind of wanted to get into, but I've never had the ability to because I'm a laptop kind of person. Someday.
Honestly, when I was doing this assembling and lubing all the switches and stuff, I was thinking, man, I really hope someone builds a computer soon and asks me for help so I can offer to like go halvesies on them with the keyboard and I can like make them the perfect keyboard.
Oh my
Because I
gosh.
really I find it fun, and I also really want people to believe me when I say keyboards are cool and you can have really nice keyboards.
Oh man. Well, I really hope I get to build a keyboard soon with you. That'd be really nice. The next
Yeah,
time when I get like a permanent desk when me and Emily move in, I will 100% ask you to help me with the keyboard. I'll remember that.
sounds good.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a closing topic. I mean, not really a topic, just a funny tidbit you'll like.
Okay.
So you mentioned bad typing, or we were talking about typing and how you can type without looking at your keyboard.
Okay.
My dad is the 100% complete opposite. And I never figured out. I knew he like always like just pulled up his finger and would like press a button or press a key and then be like, okay, and then this key and then this key, and like he does it that way. And he can obviously type more. He's a scholar, like he's been typing his entire life. But what happened was about 5 to 10 years ago, he stopped using any kind of keyboard for his hands because he started getting carpal tunnel, and he only does speech to text for his sermons
Mm-hmm.
now. I'm not sure you're aware of that. But because
Yeah.
of that, he has this funny thing where he loves using an iPad. So he always uses the iPad keyboard but won't actually type on it. He just presses individual keys. But I've never seen anyone do this before. He switched his keys accidentally to the European style and he didn't realize it. Are you familiar? Are you familiar with the European style?
Yeah.
It's QWERT Z instead of QWERTY. He
Yeah.
never realized it. And I was trying to type and I'm like, this is the most jarring thing. Why is this wrong? And he was like, oh, is it wrong? No, it's perfectly fine. What are you talking about? And I was like, no, this.
That's hilarious.
I was like, look at your laptop right now, because he had his laptop open. Look at your laptop and look at the keys, and then look back at the. He's like, oh yeah, there are a few different. That's interesting. Oh my gosh, it was the most frustrating thing. He had no idea. He had no idea.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's how bad he is with this.
That's honestly one of the reasons why I wanted to learn Dvorak. Just so I could use these blank keycaps, learn Dvorak, and then my computer would be unusable to anyone but me.
Oh, that's great. That would actually be a really funny reason to use Dvorak.